Hey guys, it's Erica with Aetna Better Health of Kentucky. And here at Aetna, we offer free classes called Getting on Track, where we help young adults like yourself learn about transitioning into adulthood. So please take a moment and check out some of the other trainings that we have available for you. And while you're at it, don't forget to like and subscribe to this YouTube channel so you don't miss any other trainings that you may be interested in taking in the future. So today we are going to talk about new driver prep. This is a guide to becoming a new driver. And some of the things that we're going to be talking about includes the different types of driver's license that are in Kentucky. That is with the graduated driver licensing program. We're going to talk about what you need to apply, the various tests that you will have to complete. And we'll also talk about some different tips when it comes to buying your first car. And then a maintenance schedule so that you can keep your ride running smoothly. Most excited to tell you that we do have two special guests that will be joining our training today. One is a law enforcement officer, and he's going to talk about the consequences of reckless driving and the importance of safety. The other is an insurance agent that is going to explain the benefits of also safe driving and then how your driving records can impact your insurance rates and a lot of other useful information that really could be beneficial to you as you become a new driver. So let's talk about the first step in the graduated driver licensing program. That is your learner's permit, okay? All new drivers in Kentucky are required to get the permit before they are eligible for a license. This permit allows you to drive supervised at all times with a licensed driver 21 years of age or older in the front seat. You can't drive between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. unless there's a good cause for driving, such as an emergency or school or even a work-related activity. And you mustn't transport more than one unrelated person under the age of 20. You apply in person for your learner's permit, and you can apply at the circuit court clerk's office in your Kentucky county of residence. And all non-U.S. citizens, that does exclude permanent residents and resident aliens, first have to apply at the Division of Driver Licensing Regional Field Office. So what you need to bring with you whenever you go for your learner's permit, you're going to need your Social Security card, an original or certified copy of your birth certificate, a proof of residence, and this can be a utility bill, mortgage documents, letters postmarked with your name and that current address on it, and a permanent resident card with a photo for non-U.S. citizens. So you need to come with your parent or your guardian if you are under 18 years of age, and they have to sign your application accepting financial responsibility. He or she will also need a valid driver's license. So a legal guardian must also have a certified copy of guardianship papers. And for any children or young adults who are in the foster care system, you will also need to bring the Cabinet for Health and Family Services custody verification letter. There is a form from your school that you will have to bring. That is the No Pass, No Drive form if you're under 18 years of age. This is yet another reason why it's important to keep your grades up at school. The school compliance verification form is available for you at your private or public school for you to get. And if you don't study at school, get the form from your local school district of residence. The permit fee is $12 that you will have to pay. And then after the clerk has prepared your application, the Kentucky State Police license examiner will administer your test. The test will contain questions about rules of the road, signs, and procedures. And you can take different various free practice tests online before you go. And if you fail your test, you may return the next day or later to try to take it again. You also have to pass a vision test, and a minimum visual acuity of 20/40 is required. If you do not pass that test, then you will be referred to a vision specialist. Then after you've completed all of that, you will be issued a permit or a distinctive under 21 permit if you are younger than 21. And applicants under the age of 21 must hold their driving permit for a minimum of 180 days, and applicants older than 21 must hold the permit for at least 30 days. The intermediate license is the second stage of the graduated driver licensing program in Kentucky. This is for drivers at the age of 16 and 17. It allows you to drive without supervision, but with the following restrictions. You can't drive again between 12 a.m. and 6 a.m. unless there's a good cause like an emergency or school or work. And again, you cannot transport more than one unrelated passenger under the age of 20 at one time. So you'll carry your learner's permit for 180 days, and that is for everyone under the age of 21. And then you have to also complete a practice driving log. Parents or guardians should log at least 60 hours of practice driving, 10 hours of which must be completed at night. And then you can go online and check your eligibility and print your eligibility letter, and you can take that to your Kentucky State Police license examiner. So then you have to take your driving skills test. After holding your intermediate license for 180 days or until you turn 18 years of age, you will be eligible for a full license, provided that the required driver education course has been completed. When you go for your road test, you must bring a vehicle with proper registration and insurance confirmation. And if you pass the test, the examiner will record your result and send you to the circuit court clerk's office. If you fail the road test, then you'll have to wait at least 7 days before you can try to pass it again. So to get your license, you will go back to the circuit clerk's office where you will be issued a license, and your license will be valid for 4 years. You can also opt to get a real ID license, and those are valid for 8 years. And we will now go ahead and meet with Officer Muravchik, who will talk to us now about some driving-related issues that can really be helpful for you as you begin to drive.
Good morning. My name is Greg Muravchik, and I'm currently with the Georgetown Police Department. This is year 46 for me as serving our communities here in Kentucky. I'm retired from the Kentucky State Police, and I've been with Frankfort PD, Franklin County Sheriff's Office, the Transylvania University as the chief. I was with the Justice Cabinet, and I'm now currently with I retired after 20 years with State Police, and I'm currently in my 4th year with the Georgetown Police Department. And I've been blessed to be involved with the various communities throughout the state.
What are some common mistakes that you see that new drivers make?
Well, before we really get off on the mistakes, being young, our juveniles, 16 is a young age. And of course, that's the law that allows us to get our permits and to apply for the driver's license. But a lot of us don't realize that the young drivers is what causes accidents and so forth. So that a lot of common mistakes for young people is speeding, distraction. A lot of times when you have people in the car, whether it's 1, 2, those distractions, you get involved in talking and you're not checking the road, you're not checking your mirrors, your blind spots, following too closely, improper lane changing, not utilizing your turn signals, and braking too hard, not realizing through inexperience, how to operate the motor vehicle. The motor vehicle is actually almost like a bullet. If you lose control of the motor vehicle or anything like that, or you don't know where it's going, it can create a lot of havoc, accidents, injuries, and fatalities. Right now, Kentucky is number 2 for the worst teen driving statistics in the nation. And, we've got a lot of people don't realize that 15 people die daily involved in accidents that are in the ages from 15 to 20, and that there's 5,000 or more that are injured every year in regards to accidents, speeding, drug driving, distraction, vaping, smoking. These are little things, turning the radio, turning the air conditioner, turning the heat, and we don't pay attention, and before you know it, we're too close to somebody and we actually have a collision. Distracted driving, texting. I mean, it's against the laws, for those to be texting and driving, especially when you're under the age of 18. And I encourage everybody to look online, to look up, go to the Kentucky State Police homepage, Drive Kentucky. There's various resources out there that give you statistics that talk about how you can apply and get your driver's license, get your permit, then your intermediate license, and your license, and it gives you step-by-step procedures on what you got to have. And a lot of people don't understand that driving in Kentucky is a privilege. It's not an automatic right. You've got to, number one, your parents have to sign a statement. You have to be able to pass grades in school in order to get your driver's license if you're under 18. And one of the reasons why they give a permit and they limit the number of people and the time of driving for safety reasons. Young people do not have the experience as some of us older drivers.
I think it's important that drivers do get familiar. Kentucky has a lot of different terrain. We have mountains, we have city driving, we have towns and stoplights and things of that nature. So practicing in the different areas of Kentucky, I could see that could be really beneficial. But do you have any other tips for how to stay safe on the road?
Important, you have to know your vehicle first. You've got to know the ins and the outs, how to turn your lights on, how to turn signals, where your hazard lights are at. You know, I know it sounds crazy, the gas pedal and your brake pedal. Through experience, you'll know how quick your brakes are. Some people with the different vehicles, when they brake, some brakes are made, you have to press a little bit harder. And, you know, if you're using a clutch type of vehicle, you're using both feet. So it's important to know the vehicle inside and out, to adjust your rear view mirror, to adjust your side view mirrors. And it's also important to adjust your seat so that way you can get to the steering wheel and to the pedals in a safe manner. And one of the most important things is we have a lot of people killed in Kentucky and across the nation because they don't wear their seatbelt. They don't buckle up. And it's against the law. When you're in a vehicle, you must have your seatbelt on. And even though the fine is not that great, it's still, a fine. It doesn't go against your points or anything like that, but it is a violation. But the most important thing is buckling up will save your life and the life of others.
What about DUI laws? How does that apply to someone, say, under the age of 21?
Under the age of 21, it's zero tolerance. What that means is it's zero. And a lot of people have a misconception as to what the blood alcohol content is to be convicted of DUI. Our laws are 0.08 for normal vehicles, and then for commercial vehicles, it's 0.04, and for the underage drivers, 0.02. But just because that you don't blow that doesn't mean that you're not under the influence. And this is where the officer takes his investigative skills, his observations of your driving and the smell. You could be under the influence of intoxicants, other intoxicants other than alcohol, marijuana, fentanyl, heroin, meth. Nowadays, a lot of our young people are trying these things. And if you get stopped and you are under the influence, it's a zero tolerance for under the age of 18.
Okay. So let's say we've had an accident. We're in a small fender bender. No one's been injured. What should we do immediately? Let's say we blew our tire out and we don't know who to call or what to do in case of emergency. What would you recommend?
Absolutely. Well, one of the things, if you're on the roadway, number one, you want to get off the roadway as safely as you can, okay? So you have to make sure you're utilizing your mirrors, if you have a blowout or whatever, to make sure that there is no other traffic to the right or left of you. Most of the time, we encourage everybody to pull to the right of the roadway. The right of the roadway usually has the biggest amount of space for emergency lanes for vehicles to actually pull over and in a safe spot. But you want to pull far enough off the roadway, not only for the vehicle that you're in, but also for vehicles that are going by. And when you open up your car door so you don't get hit, put your turn signals on, move your vehicle to the right of the roadway, put your emergency flashers on, and then dial 911. 911 will get you into the closest emergency center in the area that you're traveling. You can tell them where you're at. What's important is if you kind of keep an idea of the mile markers, the name of the roads that you're on, that's part of your observation in driving. So, and it's so much better for us and quicker for the police and emergency responders if you give us an exact location. I'm on I-75. I'm at the 126 mile marker going northbound. I'm at I-64 at the 58 mile marker going westbound. Or I'm at the intersection of Cardinal Lane and Versailles Road. Those are important factors to have. And then make sure you have the emergency contacts in your vehicle. Once you do that, leave your flashers on. If you do have flares or cone, put them out. But also understand, once you get out of the vehicle, you are subject to getting hit also, because people have a tendency to see vehicles on the side of the roadway and they lose focus of the road and kind of swerve towards that vehicle. It happens to a lot of police vehicles with their lights on. So just be extremely cautious and make sure that you have a clear way if you're getting out of your vehicle. And if you don't feel it safe, don't get out. Call 911, tell them where you're at, and they'll send an officer to your exact location. The other thing is that a lot of people wonder, what do you do when you get stopped by the police? And as you get stopped by the police, remember, nobody likes to see the lights on behind them. I get nervous. I've been stopped too. Just like anybody else. Sometimes we make mistakes or go a little too fast, which we try not to do. If you do get stopped, remember, you pull off to the right of the road as quick as you can. An officer is walking up to your vehicle. It's wise to turn on the dome light so that they can see. And then you place your hands on the steering wheel and, at a 10-2 basically position. And that the things that you have to have on you at all times when you're operating a motor vehicle is, number one, your driver's license, your registration, and proof of insurance. Usually the officer will come up to your vehicle and be very professional, should identify themselves, tell you what the reason why. If I'm stopping you for speeding, I would say I'm Officer Moravchik with the Georgetown Police Department. I've stopped you for speeding. Can I see your driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance? And in Kentucky, and across the nation, there are laws about handguns and so forth. It is not illegal to, unless you're under the age of 21 and you haven't been a felon, that you can have concealed weapons. The thing about it is that if you have a concealed weapon, it's probably wise to let the officer know, hey, my registration or wallet is in the glove box. I have a weapon, and they'll tell you that to proceed with caution. You have to understand it's for their safety too, and for you.
Yes.
And I've had people reach in, grab the gun to move it, and realize that there's no danger, but we don't know as policemen as who we're stopping, so forth. Right. So they'll identify themselves. Officers should treat you with the utmost respect and professionalism, tell you why they've stopped, identify themselves, and then ask you for that. Now, whether they give you a ticket, that's an officer's discretion thing, but just remember, answer the questions honestly, truthfully, and then you should be on your way shortly. The biggest thing that I think is the inexperience of young drivers. And then once we even do get our driver's license, we're chit-chatting. We're talking in the vehicle. Some people are smoking. Some people are talking about their boyfriends, girlfriends, loved ones, or whatever. And they're talking about all different kinds of things other than paying attention to the road. So it's important for the driver to let their people know before they take off anywhere, hey, I need to pay attention. I need to focus on my driving, and to do so. If they're not, guess what? Pull over and tell them that you're going to either take them home or not. So that way, number one, it doesn't cause you to have an accident. Because teen driving, losing one life is too much. Having an accident with injuries is too much. And if you've never been involved in one, the cost of an accident for just being healthy, number one, the loss of a life, and then the injuries, the bills, the insurance, everything. I mean, all of this, I know it sounds crazy, money driven basically, because it's going to cost you. If you violate the law, there's fines for that. If you drink and drive and you hurt somebody, you could go to prison. And there are charges for murder, manslaughter that people have that, if you perceive to, or you do something like that, that it can cost you your freedom. So I encourage you, number one, to follow the rules. Go online, look at what the state police and what Drive Smart, Drive Kentucky, all of the various programs that are online. Take a look at it, listen to it, follow those directions. When you sign up for a good program, for your driving program, make sure you pay attention instead of being on your phone or computer, because these actions could save your life.
Well, I have Raleigh Williams with me today, and Raleigh is actually the owner of an insurance agency and has worked in insurance for 24 years. So, Raleigh, I think that you would be the perfect candidate to talk to us today and answer some questions that hopefully could just help provide some understanding of the connection between safe driving and insurance, and then maintaining a clean driving record. Does that sound good to you?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So the importance of safe driving. What role does safe driving play in determining insurance rates?
Safe driving is probably the most the item that you're going to prioritize as the number one thing, because safe driving will prevent you from having accidents, which helps keep the rates down at all times.
Yes. So over time, does that continue to decrease your premiums if you have a clean driving record?
If you have a clean driving record, it will drive. You've got a discount inside of a policy that is it's there for having no claims. So if you ever have a claim, you lose that discount, then you've got to earn it back. So as long as you can stay accident or claim free, you have that claim free discount on there at all times.
Wonderful. So what are some common behaviors that you have seen that have significantly increased the risk of accidents?
Oh my goodness, we could go all day on this one. The first one and the number one is texting. That cell phone has become a disaster for young drivers. Not only young drivers, but adults. I mean, all the way across the board.
Yeah.
I cannot say this loud enough, Erica. I cannot say this loud enough. Put that phone down.
Yes.
Put it in a safe place to where it will not move around in your car. Put it in a safe place where you're not distracted. Do not even, like for instance, if you're driving down the road, you don't want to even touch that phone. You want to kind of put it out of the way. And because I can tell you from being in this 24 years, the increase from just a cell phone has probably more than doubled the claim activity. New drivers are going to have to look at the type of vehicle that they purchase, especially 16 to 21 years old. It's going to be very important that you do your research on the type of vehicle you get, because that can drive up your insurance even more. You want to make sure you got the proper coverage to fit your budget. Buy as much insurance as you can to fit your budget, but I know as a 16, 8 to an 18 to a 21-year-old, rates are very devastating to see, but you have to try to work a formula that fits your budget and get the best coverage for it. You want to be very careful and be a very cautious driving. Make sure you don't follow too close. Make sure you've always got your eyes on the road. Don't try to run through yellow lights to beat the red, because we see so many intersection accidents there.
How long do violations typically stay on your driving record?
When you have a collision or a comprehensive claim, 3 to 5 years. Most companies go back 3 years, but all companies look back as much as 5 years. So once you have that claim, you can look at 3 years before you start getting any of the reduction in claim activity, and then 5 years, it all goes away.
What are the steps in picking the right insurance company? How do you go about comparing rates and figuring out what's best going to suit your financial budget and things of that nature?
You know, you always hear these companies advertising, come with us because we're going to take care of you. Every one of them tell you that. But you do have the big ones. You want to make sure they're one of the bigger companies. Make sure they're not one of those, what we call cut rate companies. They are out there. Those are companies that are made for people who have bad driving records. So they're a non-standard company. So you definitely want to make sure they're not listed as a non-standard company, and make sure they're a good company like I don't want to mention a bunch of names, but just make sure they're a big company. And another thing that I like to tell people, I know we're in this new digital world. I know we're, the internet, email and texting. I know we have all that. Everybody wants to lean toward that to get their insurance. But let me give you the best advice you ever have. Not because I'm an insurance agency owner. Yes, I'm protecting my world also. But go to an agent. Sit down with that agent, because if you sit down with you find you a good agent who wants to really explain to you and not just sell on price, what you're going to find is they're going to explain step by step all these coverages. Because what's going to happen in the real world, you're going to go online. Oh, wow, that's a great rate. That's better than Joe down the road. And you go ahead and you finish it. Guess what? You e-sign that. Now, you go have an accident. Oh, I'm sorry, you don't have the right coverage. Guess what? I didn't know. Yeah, you did. You e-signed it, so that means you read all the stuff. We have to go to school and train for this. And if you buy insurance online, you're just buying a number. So go to an agent who can explain the coverages to you.
So let's say that we have just purchased our first car and we need to get insurance on that car. What are the steps that we take then? Is this something that we arrange at the car dealership, or are we able to drive off the lot without having our insurance established? How does that work?
No, you have to call. And most of the time, I don't much lean on these people, but they can connect you with an insurance agent. Before you go purchase a car, have an agent in mind. Actually go talk to one before you do it. Also do your homework. Go look at about 4 or 5 vehicles. Don't look at 1 or 2 and just go buy it, because I know when you're buying your first car, you're excited. You're ready to go. Go shop. Look at 4 or 5 vehicles. Get the VIN number. Go to an agent like I'm asking you to do. They'll run you a quote. They'll keep that quote in the system. Then you call them back and say, hey, check this car out. Shop 4 or 5 cars to make sure you're getting the best rate. So when you go buy that car and you find another car, you call that agent, what's the number on this? Now you have that connection. Now you can purchase that and you can drive off the lot. You can't drive off the lot until you actually have that insurance in place.
Let's talk about some tips for first-time car buyers. First, it's important that you're just honest about your needs and think about your budget and financing. Explore your options and decide if you're going to be purchasing a new or used vehicle. It's important that you know your credit score. This can really make an impact on your financial responsibility. And once a year, you can access your free credit report. And we'll put those links for you down in the info box down below for you. And so whenever you're looking at a car, one thing that we definitely recommend is pick out a few vehicles to look at. And then there's certain websites you can go on to find a reasonable price range that you can expect for that certain type of car, such as Edmunds.com or Kelley Blue Book. Again, we'll put those links down below for you. That way you just have an idea of the financial impact that your car purchase may have on your budget. And then you can start applying for loans and possibly going out and taking a test drive to see which of these vehicles that you like the best. So one of the best ways to learn about your car and the routine maintenance that it needs is by starting with your car's owner manual. Every vehicle owner's manual has a detailed maintenance section for everything from standard oil changes to major belt replacements. So if you don't have the original owner's manual, you can usually find one online. Your checklist should include monthly, quarterly, and annual maintenance items. So think, inspecting and maintaining your tires, checking the oil, checking the fluids, testing the lights, replacing your windshield wipers, changing the engine air filter, regular checkups, having your brakes checked, washing your car, checking the belts and hoses, keeping your maintenance records, and reviewing your car insurance, making sure you've got your updated proofs in your car for you. It's likely that you're not going to do all of the inspections and maintenance on your car yourself. So using your personal checklist, you may also choose to just set calendar reminders, download an app that will remind you to stay on top of your maintenance. If you're not completely certain when you should schedule an appointment, ask a technician. All of us here at Aetna Better Health of Kentucky, we want to thank you for attending today's training, and hopefully you learned a lot of beneficial and useful information on your new driver journey. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and please check out some of our other trainings. Thank you for watching today.